We've been saying to you for a while that the struggle that most humans have with getting things to move in the direction that they want them to be is that they are so infatuated with what is. So you look at what is, you offer a vibration about it, and you can't get past it because it keeps your belief going. That's where you're trending. You trend where you look. When Jerry and Esther were roaming around this nation in the monster bus, and Esther did most of the driving, and sometimes Jerry would say, "Oh, look at that," and Esther would start driving toward it. Because where she's looking is sort of where she's going. He got so he never pointed anything out unless it was straight ahead. You tend to go where you're looking. It's a law of physics, really. What you give your attention to, you move in the direction of. So you have to find a way to be forward-looking rather than looking at what is. And we know you find a way to do that for a little while, and then you revert back. We acknowledge with all of you, friends, we know for sure it is easier for you to look around than it is to feel around initially. Last night, some lovely person said to Esther, "I can see someone, a being, standing on the stage next to you, Esther." And Esther said, "I know it's Jerry." And he said, "Because when you move, your aura moves with you, but that doesn't." And so what we're getting at is there are all kinds of things that you don't usually see with your physical eyes that are part of your experience. So you have to come to believe that the vortex version is real and in the process of becoming. So it is so important that you believe in the reality of your vortex with your gestation of the things that you want. And you have to let that be not the complete thing that you think about all of the time, but at least you want to let it be something that you're doing more of the time. And so we want to take issue with all of you about what you call present tense and what we call present tense, because we call what's in the vortex present tense. Once you've put it there, as far as we're concerned, it is done. And you've got to figure out a way to feel more doneness of what's in the vortex and less lack of what's in your experience. Because there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. Nothing that you cannot be or do or have. It's just a matter of, we're going to call it an experience of calibrating. Look at it this way. Thoughts about the absence of what you want don't feel good. So what do you think your inner being is thinking? If you're not feeling good, you know for sure your inner being's thinking something different. What do you think it is? Your inner being is not focused upon where you are in terms of manifestation. Your inner being is focused upon where you're going. And when you do that, you'll be happy about where you are. So some games that we would play, wouldn't it be nice if? I'm really looking forward to, and something else. There's one last piece of this. We love you so much. You are so nosy about what you think other people think. And other people rarely are thinking exactly what you think they're thinking. You just assign it to them. So you've just decided, for whatever reason, that you don't look the way you want to look. Sometimes you pick it up from some other insecure person. Sometimes you do. But what are you doing roaming around in those frequencies? Did you not meditate? Did you not segment intend? Did you not play the wouldn't it be nice if game? Did you not make your statement to the universe? Did you not acknowledge that your vortex exists and that everything that you want is in it and you're on your way to it? Do you not understand this stuff? Do you not know that the law of attraction is real and that you can't get something when you're thinking in opposition to it? This is the wonderful thing about the law of attraction and everything that we're talking about here in terms of the laws of the universe. They are steady and consistent, and they won't fool you and they won't let you down. And so don't force it. Don't try to make it happen. The universal forces have got you covered. You've already put into your vortex the combination of things that you desire, and they have been gathering, cooperating others, and gathering momentum. So your singular work really is to be a match to that as best you can. But once you get that kind of stability, and because you've got that stability, it starts to feel just slightly boring. to you, then that's when you want to turn up the gas, make more decisions about it.
So what the art of allowing really is, it's deliberately cleaning up your vibration. It's vibrating on purpose. It's no longer carrying on the heritage of how somebody vibrated and showed me how to vibrate. In other words, that's sort of like deciding that you are no longer going to be the one that perpetuates the family grudge, which incidentally can make a really big mess. So what's happening in the Middle East, it's nothing more than a grudge, a historical grudge that keeps being activated generation after generation to continue to mess up the current experience when those participating have no real connection to where it began. They don't even know where it started. So what we're encouraging you to do is to say, okay, I'm going to be a deliberate creator. I'm going to offer a vibration purposefully. I'm going to activate on purpose. We have endless processes that we offer toward that end, and every one of them is only to help you to vibrate more in harmony with who you really are. In the same way that you could not set your radio dial on 98.6 and hear the music that is being broadcast on 101 FM, you cannot focus upon something that you're living and get something different. Can't be. Law of attraction is talking about vibrational equivalency. It's talking about achieving vibration. It's talking about setting your tuner for transmitters that are transmitting. And you know what's really interesting about this is that every thought that has ever been thought is transmitting at some level. And law of attraction brings those things together that are similar. So there are some pretty big towers out there that are transmitting some pretty big messages. And depending upon where you've got your tuner set, you might pick up on them. You could set your tuner for illness. And you say, now, how would I do that when I don't want to be ill? Why? I wouldn't set my tuner to illness. And we say, do you ever talk about it? Do you think about it? Do you find yourself worried about it? Esther was laughing hysterically last evening. She had the television on for a little while, and she began counting the medical commercials. She could hardly believe it. She could hardly believe how sure they all are that you all are really sick. And then she said, do you think they really think we've got that, or do you just think that they think that the power of suggestion might make us buy it? And we say, we don't think it makes any difference. The only thing that matters is how do you feel when you see it. If it's humorous to you, then no problem. If you're rushing out and buying that stuff, then there may be some activation within your vibration that may diminish your well-being just a little bit. But there are all kinds of things being transmitted, not only through your airwaves that you call television and radio, but through thoughts. There are currents and rivers, streams of consciousness that you may tap into if you give your attention to it. Nothing to worry about, because anything that is affecting you in any way, you're having an emotional response to. So if you say, nothing is more important than that I feel good, what you're saying is, I'm going to feel my way into vibrational alignment. If you say, I've been mad at this person for 20 years, we say, then you are using some very old grudge as an excuse to diminish your well-being now. If you say, oh, I've always worried about that, then we say, that's not serving you at all well. And if you say, but I have a big reason to worry, these are the evidences that make me justified in this worry, we say, we are certain you are justified, but it is still not a good choice.
There's something that we want you to discover during this conversation, and that is somewhere along your trail, you've picked up the belief, and a lot of people do, that there is advantage in struggle, that there's advantage in sacrifice, that there's advantage in drama, in entertaining drama, in the struggle. And because you believe that there's advantage in the struggle, that's your default place. That's where you go to. We know that intellectually, conceptually, you understand law of attraction, and you understand the upstream, downstream, and you understand the flow. And you have, a lot of people do, you believe that momentum is where the power is. You believe that you'd rather be doing something than nothing. Esther did it too. Instead of sitting and centering and doing a focus wheel and reminding herself that things always work out for her, instead of taking the time, she flew out of that door like a streak and went down and presented her problem with such forcefulness. In other words, she did it too. Everyone does it every now and again. What is it about that? Because even Esther says, I got to do something rather than nothing. And we say, eh. And why is that? Why is something rather than nothing a default position for so many of you? Because you have evaluated your success and your value through the eyes of others who are trying to get you to be conditional and action-oriented rather than aligned and energy-oriented. So there isn't anything wrong with any of that, except that now your guidance is showing you that all of your life, the habits and things that you thought were the keys to success now are not the path of least resistance, because the things that you were doing when you didn't know about law of attraction often were not in alignment with what you will do after you know. Understanding your point of attraction changes everything. Understanding why you have emotions changes everything. Understanding who you really are and what you really want changes everything. Understanding what downstream is changes everything. But it takes some time to allow it to change. And for sure, you will not make the change while you're choosing to be hard on yourself. You just can't beat up on yourself. We can't break through that. We can't love you enough to get through your screen of being mad at yourself. So you got to just decide to give some of that up. We want you to be able to say, I am where I am, and where I am is all right. And so you've come into alignment. You've activated your guidance. Things that you used to get away with, you can't get away with anymore because you know too much. You can't go back. It's working for you. You're not failing. You're coming into alignment with who you are. We used to say to people almost every seminar in the beginning that the thing that people would most often say to us, Abraham, is it normal for all hell to break loose in my life when I begin doing this work? And the answer is yes. Because the things that you used to do out of determination and habit, the action-oriented things, don't work in this vibrational-based law of attraction, understanding of what your guidance system is telling you world. It's a different orientation, and you've got to make the jump. And so there isn't anything in the world wrong with negative emotion. We want negative emotion to be a good thing. If the stove is hot, we want you to know it. We don't want you to ignore your guidance and touch the hot stove. That's not good for you. And we don't want you to endure long-standing negative emotion. That's not good for you either. But we don't want you to beat up on yourself for having negative emotion, because that's like throwing yourself on the stove. That is exaggerating it, you see. And that's what true drama is. Drama is, here's a good definition for you. Drama is deliberately or indeliberately, purposefully or by default, choosing a vibration that is not in alignment with the way Source sees it, and holding myself there until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Drama is trying to fix things through action rather than at the early stages through vibrational shifting. Drama is the umbrella result of being insensitive in the early stages to your emotion. You talk more than you listen, and you act more than you feel, and you talk more than you hear, and you don't allow the receptive mode very often. But when you do, you are brilliant. And the reason that when you do, you're brilliant is because you've lived enough contrast that you've really put amazing things in your vortex. So you are called in a very strong way. And when someone is called in a very strong way and they don't go, you take it really hard. And that's why you're dramatic.